Okay guys, the project is complete. NFL Blitz 99 full restoration is done. I am extremely happy with the way this turned out, just like most of these projects that I tackle. No pun intended. I was able to get the missing box here, as I mentioned in the previous video, and I was able to fashion some brackets. It didn't have the bracket with it that mounts, there's a bracket that mounts to this, and then this thing mounts to the machine. The bracket that interfaces these two things was missing. All I had was the actual box. So I took some pieces of sheet metal and grinded them down and actually made some U's. I made some U pieces here and screwed those U pieces to the machine, and then the little tabs that made the U I screwed in on the bottom and top. So this thing's actually real secure in here. I can move the whole machine by pulling on that. So this is successfully mounted to the machine. That worked out great. I was able to mask off and touch up the side art on both sides, and the way I'm not going to move this machine around. What I'm actually going to do here, I'm actually just going to talk a little bit about what some of the stuff I've done, and then I'll do what I've been doing in the past and just show some pictures. So it's a lot easier for me to just show pictures so you guys can compare and contrast from the pre-restoration portion to this point, because there's a lot of work I did to the front. If you refer to the pre-restoration video, you'll see how bad this front was, and you can see how it is now. So it's easier for me to post the pictures, and you can see what kind of work it took to accomplish rebuilding this front panel. So I'm just going to talk about what I've done to it as far as maybe cosmetics and stuff, but as far as the total overview of the cabinet and how everything turned out, at the end of the video here, stay tuned for the whole thing, and at the end of the video you'll see all the pictures and a full breakdown of that stuff. So stay tuned at the end for that. But as far as the rest of this goes, I'm happy with the way that it turned out. Like I say, the side art, I was able to actually mask off and paint and touch up everything that needed to be touched up and painted. And as you can see here, it turned out phenomenally. Can't say that. Phenomenally. So it's I've been working on this for about 7 hours today, so my mind is kind of frazzled, if you will. But you can see there, I masked off about the bottom 3/4 of an inch and painted it black because it was all scuffed up and scraped and broken and pieces missing, and you can't really touch up the whole bottom like that. So it's easier for me to just mask off and paint the bottom 3/4 of an inch all black. And it's not really noticeable. I mean, if you're sitting here playing the game and looking, I mean, it's not that noticeable if you don't know what you're looking at. So the bottom is painted. Then also about the in 1/4 inch here, you can tell about on 1/4 inch of the edge, I masked it off and painted all this too, because what happens is over time people go like this and pieces break off and gets flaked. So I just sanded it down on the edge and then painted this 1/4 inch edge all the way down, and it turned out beautifully. So it masked and painted up all of the edges that were cut and broken and pulled and all that stuff. So you can see that it doesn't take away from the artwork at all, and it really hides all the damages and the flaws. So the other side is just as immaculate as this, so I'll post pictures of that. But it's just easier for me to do it this way because I'm limited on space and light and things here in the one-car garage. But anyway, so all new T-molding. I mentioned before, all new sticks. I got all new buttons and all new switches. And as far as this, you guys remember if you go to the pre-restoration video, you can see that somebody spilled a bunch of soda and a bunch of gunk and crap underneath all these buttons and switches and stuff. So I was able to actually go through and remove and completely redo the control panel. And you can see I got rid of all of that gunk. It turned out great. So you can refer to the pre-restoration video and see how it was before, and then come back and compare it to this, and you'll see just how much better this is. It's just like night and day. This whole experience turned out great. So I mentioned before I actually got new joysticks, and the reason behind that, as I mentioned also, is because these original ones worked, but the problem is they were all damaged. You can see, here's one of the old ones, you can see that real deep groove in there. All 4 of these joysticks that were on here originally has this deep groove in it, and it's because people would slam down on the joystick and doing 360s and stuff, and it would just grind in around the outside here and wear grooves in the shaft of the stick. But the reason that was happening was because none of these were actually centered in the hole. One of them was like down and to the right, so it would just slam right into the shaft and wear a groove into it. So I went through and centered every one of these, so now you can actually go completely around, and there's a 1/16 of an inch all the way around where it doesn't touch. So unless you actually hard slam it, it does not touch the ring or the hole anywhere, the perimeter on any of these sticks. So I lined them all up good, so now this kind of thing shouldn't happen again, or if it does, it shouldn't be anywhere as bad as this. So all 4 of these sticks are replaced, and I readjusted them to prevent this from happening in the future. And I'm happy with the way the Lexan turned out. I'm not going to have to cut a new piece because this turned out just fine. after I cleaned it all up and everything. There's a few cigarette burns, but nothing that is so bad I'm going to want to have to replace it all. So I mentioned before that the marquee had been curved from the heat of the light, and I was hesitant to try and make it go flat again because it would crack. If you refer to the pre-restoration video, I actually mentioned that it always scares me to try and flatten those out again because they crack, and you can see right there the damn thing cracked. But I was able to put a piece of clear packing tape on the back to prevent it from cracking further and to flatten it back out. And then you can also see that I actually was able to make it flat again. So it actually is flush up against the glass, so it's not curved and curved inward on the edges anymore. It's nice and flat against the glass. So I was able to accomplish that, so that's all done. And then as far as the monitor, you can see how great that monitor looks. I am really pleased with how this turned out. It's a 25-inch Neotech. It's 2515C is the brand or the model. And I was able to put a flyback on it, and I fully capped it, full cap kit, and after adjustments and color and size and picture and position and everything, it looks great. And I did all this because originally when you turn it on, it was really badly out of focus and blurry, and it took like 15-20 minutes for it to become clear again. And so it didn't make any difference if I went in there and adjusted it so it was clear when it turned on. Then you wait 15-20 minutes and it wouldn't be clear because the focus would drift. And the problem with that was it was well, I don't know if it's a combination of the caps or the flyback, but I put a new flyback in it, capped it, readjusted everything, and now it turns on crystal clear. And I played it, like I say, a couple of games, and focus doesn't drift, and that whole problem is finished now. So the monitor is fully rebuilt, and like all the rest of it, it turned out great. So anyway, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to talk about some of the stuff I've done here and how the cabinet looks and overall what it took to do this. I'm just kind of pleased with the way this turned out too, because I was worried about how I was going to get this to mount. So that worked out. I keep saying worked out great. Someone needs to take a running toll of every time I say it looks great, came out great, turned out great. I say that a lot, but there's not much else I can use to describe it. So I'm real happy with the end result, and can't say enough things. There's not going to be much light in here, and I do apologize for that, but I did install the compact flash card. I got the new power supply there. You can see I got the compact flash card installed, so it's running off of that, not the original hard drive anymore, so the game should run a little bit faster, load times and things like that. And cleaned the cabinet out, vacuumed it, wiped it all down, and I did mention before that it smelled like smoke inside this thing, and I did not actually have to do anything to it. It's kind of, I don't want to say fortunate, but it worked out well in the fact that it doesn't smell like smoke anymore. What happened was I actually have had this machine for about a week or so, week and a few days, and all that time of it being in the garage and having the back door off and the monitor out and the control panel off and all that stuff waiting for parts to arrive, the smoke smell kind of went away on its own. So basically what happened was the smoke smell did not permeate the wood. The smoke smell just happened to get inside the cabinet, and when I opened the cabinet up, I got blindsided with that smell. And after being exposed to the open air for a week and a few days, that smell actually went away on its own. I didn't have to do anything to the inside of the cabinet, so I'm real fortunate. So it does not smell like smoke anymore, so that actually went away on its own, so I'm happy about that. But that's about it. I wanted to mention that as well, and just the overall end result of this just blows me away. So I'm happy with this, and stay tuned here for some pictures. And of course, I want to say thanks for watching, and I appreciate everybody checking this out. And as always, your comments are welcome, so please comment away and let me know what you think. And I appreciate it again, and we'll see you next time.